Hi, and welcome back to another video review here at Terribly Fun Films. I'm your host through the crazy awfulness, Bobby, and since for our first ever video review, we looked at the Asylum Grimm's Snow White, I thought it would be sort of fun if we continued that tradition for our first review that isn't part of a separate series as well, with 2009 Syfy Channel original movie, Beauty and the Beast, A Dark Tale. So come explore this with me, and let's see if it's any fun. And now, while it is Beauty and the Beast, they do change some things up. So, basic overview of this specific story. There's an old and dying king who has no heirs to the throne. As such, he must choose amongst his top-ranked knights and advisors a successor. This puts Count Rudolph in a position to grab the kingship. Count Rudolph is played by Rhett Giles, and he has no bones about stepping on anybody's feet or killing anybody that gets in his way for this. So, this means he throws other knights out windows, and he teams up with an evil sorceress named Lady Helen, played by Vanessa Graves, in order to control the populace through fear. They do this with the use of a troll. This troll goes around murdering villagers and that sort of thing, but they set it up to make it look like the long-rumored beast who lives in the woods is doing all this. Meanwhile, we have the character of Belle, played by Estella Warren, who was very tomboyish in this particular movie. She hunts, she goes picking herbs, climbing trees, that sort of thing, much to her parents' chagrin. And she is saved by the beast from a wolf attack, and that's how the two meet. They start up a friendship, so she knows it's not the beast doing all this killing. And she, the beast, and the beast's only other friend, Otto, team up to figure out why the beast is being blamed, or what is the beast's true backstory. That's the plot. The movie comes from writer Gavin Scott, who most of you will either know from his time working on The Adventures of Young Indiana Jones show, Small Soldiers, randomly enough, or the mini-series of The Mists of Avalon and or Earthsea. Not saying anyone is good or bad, just that's what he's worked on. Here, his writing is good, not quite great, though. He has a great sense of characterization. Everybody has very clear motivations, everybody acts in a way that's true to their characters, and everybody gets a very satisfying ending at the end, again, for the kind of B-movie this is. But his dialogue's very hokey and very exposition heavy, especially on the first few encounters between the Beast and Belle and Otto, who is the sheriff of the town most of this takes place in. It's not necessarily bad, but it gets very bogged down, and I feel there might have been an easier way of getting some of that information across. But for the most part, it works, and it's an interesting reinterpretation, which I'll get to momentarily, and that will involve a few spoilers. Spoiler warning will be up before that happens, though. The director is David Lister, who's done lots of TV work, and is probably mostly known in B-movie circles for his other interpretation of the Beauty and the Beast story, which is Blood of Beasts with Jane March. I will be reviewing that soon, I promise. He does an okay job. He keeps the pace up for the most part, and the action is filmed well. But there's no real flourishes, there's no real style to anything going on there. And that's a bit of a disappointment. I could imagine if somebody like Marco Lester, who produced this movie, or Mark Atkins, or Lee Scott, if they had taken the reins here, it would be a bit more pulpy, if you will, a bit more adventurous feeling. As is, the movie feels sort of small, which doesn't really work for me in a movie that has so much going on. You have the discovery of the Beast's true backstory, the romance between Belle and Beast, the getting the kingship, the stuff with the troll and the evil sorceress. You have a lot of things. The movie feels very sort of self-contained. It doesn't feel like there's a larger world we're not seeing outside of the frames, and that does hurt the movie a bit. But it's a competent job. The editing's fairly good, and the cinematography is average for this kind of movie, but definitely not bad. There are a few really cool lighting moments, especially in the sort of tree cave the Beast lives in. The actors are kind of a mixed bag. Rhett Giles, who's one of my favorite Asylum actors, well, I found him out who he was because of the Asylum, I should specify. Not that he still regularly works for them. And he's a lot of fun here as the main bad guy. Well, one of two main bad guys, the male bad guy. He gets to kind of let loose and play big and over the top, which he doesn't do that often. So that made it really enjoyable and fun to watch for me. And then his counterpart, his other evil lady, Vanessa Gray, is good. She plays things very manic, very crazy, big. And that mostly works, but she does come off as sort of, she's never really threatening because she's so all over the map. It's one thing to play over the top and broad, especially in a movie like this. It's another thing to vacillate so wildly, like you're having crazy mood swings. And that hurts the overall performance and the overall impact the villainess could have. The other villain, the troll, looks okay. He's a really cool design, a very fleshy, gnome-like design, which is really different, especially familiar with more of the traditional European troll look. So that's nice. But the CGI on him, not that good. Not that bad either, considering, but there are definitely times where you can tell he's not properly inserted into the frames, especially when he's climbing on a roof of a particular house near the end of the movie. It's a thatched roof because, you know, traditional medieval time period type stuff. And he just looks like he's not quite on there right, which is really bothersome. When interacting with people, especially the Beast, though, he does look fairly decently. Let's talk about Estella Warren as Belle. She's alright. She does fairly well in the action scenes, and her chemistry with Victor as the Beast, excellent. Excellent chemistry. And in their smaller, more dramatic scenes together, she does fairly well. But, especially early on, she's not that believable. She has a conversation with her parents in her first scene in the film that sounds like maybe it should be for like an 18 to 21-year-old who's just discovering who they are, trying to figure life out, that sort of thing. Stella Warren, while very attractive and in terms of sheer looks the part of Belle, was 31 at the time they made this. And she doesn't look much younger than that. So to have a character who's meant to be not naive, but sort of rebellious against her parents in a weird way, doesn't totally feel right. It's a mixed bag there. And then the only other character of note is, of course, Otto, as you heard me mention in the plot synopsis. And Tony Collette plays him, and he's good. He brings a lot of gravitas to the role, a lot of weight and a lot of empathy for his character and what his character has to do. And that makes the proceedings a bit more emotional than they would be otherwise. So good on him for that. Let's get to the Beast. The makeup on the Beast is amazing and is probably the single best thing about the movie. It's different than how you can see in most interpretations, so it easily stands out. I don't know if you can get a really clear look on here from that. But it looks really good, and Victor Parasokos, again, not sure how to pronounce it, does a really good job of emoting underneath the makeup, and they still allow very expressive eye and mouth movements, so he gets a lot out of that. And his sort of gravelly, deep voice works really well for the character, and he's really good here. In fact, everything about the Beast is really interesting and helps the movie overcome its flaws. The Beast's backstory is a sort of driving force behind this. For a little while, you're unsure of why Count Rudolph and Lady Helen, the evil knight and the evil sorceress, want the Beast out of the picture. And as the movie progresses, you'll find out more and more about the Beast's backstory and who he truly is. And it's really interesting. I'm going to get to that right now. So this is your spoiler warning. Jump ahead about a minute and a half or so, and the spoiler warning will be over. But right now, spoiler warning. Turns out that due to a perceived slight, Lady Helen cursed the Queen to give birth to a deformed, hideous son. So, the Beast is actually the long-thought dead son of the king. Otto used to work at the palace and was charged with killing the child. He couldn't bring himself to do that, so he took the child into hiding, deep into the woods, taught him to hunt and that sort of thing, which is why Otto is friends with him. And I really, really like this backstory. It's really different, it's really interesting, and it adds a lot of layers to the movie that really wouldn't be there otherwise. And the way the movie plays out his characterization, the way it's written, the way the actors play it, really make it engaging and fun. And the reveal of that sort of thing with a cup he's had since childhood and a plate and that sort of thing, it makes more sense in context, I promise. It's really good. Again, Victor Parasokos is excellent here. He's a nice looking frame, he's believable in the action scenes, so that's really, really cool. The score is... I don't really remember most of it, so it's not necessarily bad, it's just kinda there. Except for the Beast's theme. When the Beast comes on screen, he has his own theme, and it's fairly good. Again, everything about the Beast is probably the best aspect of the movie. The costumes are okay. They look good. Every character has their own sort of color, which is nice. Count Rudolph is black and white. Lady Helen is a dark navy blue. Belle is pink, that sort of thing. And that's actually really cool and a fun visual motif kept going through the movie. But they all look like they were just bought off a rack. They look too new, too clean to be in this sort of society that we see in the world, and that sucks. Conversely to that, the production and art design are excellent. The castle is big and foreboding, and the forest is dark and creepy, and the village looks like, well, I don't know if it's authentic is the right word, but looks enough like how we have come to recognize these sorts of villages looking, that it's actually really nice to see that sort of effort go into it. And that's really all I have to say about this one. It's kind of a mixed bag. If you're a big fan of Syfy Channel movies or fairy tale reimaginings, definitely check it out because there's a lot of fun to be had. However, there are issues with the movie that keep it being one of the better Syfy Channel B-movies that we'll be reviewing here. Thank you for watching once again. I'm Bobby, and I'll see you next time.